You're watching Fugitive Red Eye, and welcome to another Raw review. For those of you who don't know, Raw review is just an unedited review in the style of Red Eye Raw. It's a sub-series of Red Eye Raw, much like I did with The Boys and TMNT and Better Call Saul. But today, we're going to be talking about Invincible Seasons 1 and 2, because that's all there currently is. So Invincible is a show that I had constantly heard was good. It's another one of those sort of, what would I say, subversive superhero shows, right? Like, it's a new take on the superhero genre. It plays less into the subversive thing. It really only has one superhero that's villainous, being Omni-Man. And that's not a spoiler that's revealed in the first episode. I thought it was a massive spoiler, but everybody knew it because of the iconic fight from the end. You know, think, Mark. But with Invincible, what I gotta say is, going into it, I liked it a lot already from the start. There were a few things that I kind of was like, oh, that's kind of dumb. Like, there was a few little bits and pieces here and there that I thought were kind of cringe in the first few episodes. First season, I absolutely hated any scene involving Amber, because in Season 1, they intentionally make her, like, the most unlikable cunt, like, even more unlikable than Mary Jane in the Spider-Man trilogy. But it seems like they took feedback on that, because in Season 2, Amber's personality does a complete 180, and she's super supportive and understanding. Like, she's such a better character. I actually don't mind her in Season 2. Like, legitimately, they took the most irritating character and made her one of the more interesting ones, because she's not like her own well-fleshed-out character, but she's a good support role. Like, she is done very well as a support role, and that was great. I was happy that they actually made that change for the better. Now, with Season 2, I will say Season 2 is overall better than Season 1. Season 2 is a lot more funny. There's some meta jokes here and there that are different than Season 1. And each season is only 8 episodes, by the way. And Season 1 does have some interesting stuff as well. But I definitely think Season 2, as a full cohesive season, is way better than Season 1. Granted, the Season 1 finale is still currently the best episode of the show, because most of that episode is just Omni-Man fighting Invincible. You know, Mark versus his dad. It's really cool. And it is, like, the show very clearly takes inspirations from, you know, Superman and, I would say to an extent, Dragon Ball Z, with the way that the Viltrumites work. They're sort of a combination of the Kryptons and the Saiyans, and even then Saiyans, the parts of them were inspired by Krypton, so, you know. I say this as someone who has had very little exposure to Superman, mind you. I haven't watched a ton of Superman. Like, I've watched Superman, Doomsday, and Man of Steel, and that's like it. I think I've seen some of the old cartoons that are public domain that are on those dollar store sets you used to be able to get, but other than that, not really. But there are a lot of heroes that are clearly callbacks to real heroes. There's, like, in Season 2, in the final episode of Season 2, there's literally this guy that's clearly just like Spider-Man, and he's fighting Professor Ock, Prof. Ock. And there's also, and they make a reference that's very clearly a callback to the fact that, like, because he mentioned stuff about multiverses, and so, like, it's a very clear nod to, you know, Into the Spider-Verse and No Way Home, since there's been all these multiverse Spider-Man movies lately. Also, they have, like, just straight-up Batman there. They don't actually show him, but, like, they have Mark, like, commenting on, like, you're a man who dresses like a bat. Don't you think that name's kind of lazy? And then he's in another universe. The interesting thing about this show is it looks like a standard, like, Saturday morning cartoon superhero show that you'd watch, you know, as a kid. But then it just will get really fucking gory out of nowhere, and that's one thing I love about it, is just how over-the-top gory this show gets. But on top of that, I would say that my favorite characters are Omni-Man and Rexplode, and then Mark. I really like Rexplode. I already liked him in Season 1, where he's clearly supposed to just be, like, an unlikable douche. But in Season 2, they make him a little bit more fleshed out and deep than that, and I really like him. He has this really badass scene where he survives this insane fucking amount of damage he takes. And that's really cool. Like, they make Rex super badass in Season 2, particularly towards the end. There's a lot of characters I admittedly don't care about. I don't care about Mark's gay friend. I don't care... Again, Amber, I hated in Season 1. In Season 2, I actually don't mind her. I don't really care about Duplicate or Immortal. Like, they're fine. But I don't really find them as deep as it probably wants me to. But overall, this is a show that I think did get better as it went, and I think maybe they listened to some of the fan criticism, because nobody liked Amber in Season 1. In Season 2, she's fine. So I think maybe they did listen to fan criticism on that, and this is one of those cases where I think that was actually a good thing. Because again, I think it is a balance, right? When it comes to art versus adaptation versus fandom, I think there is a balance in between there. And Amber herself was completely different in the show than she was in the comics, too, from what I understand. Not just the fact that she was race swapped, but also, like, her personality, from what I understand, is also completely different in the comics. But yeah, overall, the show's got some good comedy, and I also really like the Mauler twins. They're these villains that I'm really hoping that kind of become, like, anti-heroes. They just kind of weren't there in the end of Season 2. Like, second half of Season 2, they were hardly there. Like, they were there at the early parts of Season 2, but then, like, later on, they're just kind of gone. Like, I don't know what the hell they're doing. They're off doing their own thing, I guess. The villain in Season 2, Angstrom Lavery, I think, is his name, or something like that. He just fucking looks like Yakub or Black Megamind or something. That guy's a heartless piece of shit. I love that final battle. Like, he is, like... He was clearly supposed to, like, be, like, a sympathetic villain, but, like, when Mark just, like, fucking pounds the shit out of him and, like, brutally kills him, and then, like, feels bad about it, that scene's great. And I gotta say, Mark, I really like the character development of Mark. I like that he stays heroic and wants to, you know, do the right thing. Like, for instance, when Cecil's telling him that he needs to, just say that he'll side with the Viltrumites just so the one chick will leave, and then they'll deal with it when they come. But he still refuses to do it, so he gets the shit kicked out of him. Because he refuses to compromise on that. I thought that was really fucking cool. I also think it's really cool that he feels guilt when he kills that, because that guy is the first, like, sentient person he killed. Because he's killed monsters before, but, like, Angstrom Lavery is, like, literally, like, his first kill. And it's really cool. I also do really like the Season 2 intro. And by intro, I mean the first episode of it, the Season 2 premiere, that's the word I meant, where it showed Mark in another dimension as this evil, like, dictator type thing that was siding with Omni-Man. It was really interesting. Omni-Man has this weird arc in Season 2 where it feels like he's going through some sort of weird midlife crisis or something, I don't know. Where he meets up with this fucking praying mantis lady and then has a kid with her, and then that starts to, like, fuck with his emotions and turn him around, and then he misses Earth. It's weird. It's interesting. I'm curious to see where they're going to go with it in Season 3. I am looking forward to Season 3. I have not watched the Adam Eve special, because I didn't really care. Adam Eve has some good scenes and shit, but I didn't care, overall, to be honest. But, no, I liked a lot of these characters. It was a pleasant surprise. It was a new show that I didn't hate, and unlike The Boys, this one actually got better rather than getting worse. Because The Boys started out somewhat okay, but got, like, way worse over time. Whereas this, and, like, The Boys always had more problems. Don't get me wrong, The Boys was always shit to a degree, but, like, it just got worse and worse. Whereas Invincible always was good, but then it had less bullshit and got better as it went. Now, granted, still not perfect. There's still some things here and there I don't care about or have issue with. But overall, I think The Boys is probably one of the best... Sorry, not The Boys. Fuck that. The Boys is awful. I think Invincible is one of the best shows currently airing, and I'm very much looking forward to Season 3. But I think I've got my point across. Invincible is really good. It's a fun take on the superhero genre. It's really gory. And has some really interesting characters, particularly Rex and Omni-Man. And Mark. I really do like Mark's hero's journey, his heroic arc. But anyway, that's really all I have to say. I hope you enjoyed this raw review. Have a good one. Toodles.